So we have to have the fundamental belief that the working Americans are important. They create our market. I mean, even if you just look at it as a selfish standpoint, let's just set aside all the real reasons to do it. Just from an economic standpoint, they provide the market. They buy the goods and services. They have got to have an income that gives them disposable income to do these things and to enrich their lives, and all of us benefit. No matter what financial level we're in, we will benefit from that. And I wasn't against the tax cuts, it's where they were. If the tax cuts were positioned properly to the people that would have spent the money immediately, you know, then we would have seen a different picture. We wouldn't have had those 2.5 years of struggle. But I'm not afraid of paying taxes either. So that's the second, is service. And like I say, you have to have the commitment that by helping those that are in trouble, it makes it easier for you to be successful. That you'll be better, and that the whole economy will be better. And we're not worshiping the free enterprise system. You know, what's good for the CEO is not necessarily good for everyone else. So that's the second. The third one is to go the distance, and I keep talking about that. That is the one I'm talking about. To set a course and have the courage to stand up and defend it, even when it doesn't look like it's real popular in the polls. You've got to follow through and finish things. American character was based on finishing what we start. We've done that throughout our history. That's been a component. And it's just in the last 10 or 15 years that the large corporations have gotten control of so much through the financing of campaigns. And they've been able to get situations that work for them. Has anyone in here read any of those free trade agreements? I've tried. Oh, have you read one? But I'll tell you what I have done. I tried. I mean, they're so long. But when I read NAFTA, I can't believe what I'm reading. So these trucks from Mexico are going to be able to go across the border, not meet any of the standards that we meet here, and they'll compete against ours and could have anything in there. It's unbelievable. So China could come over and take over DWP if they could produce the energy at a lower rate. That's my personal interpretation of how I read that. That we could have foreign governments come in here and do that. Now we need people that will stand up and speak out against these things. They wouldn't have had tariffs in the original Constitution if they didn't think it was part of government's responsibility to protect our markets here, to protect our people. It's been there all along. So those are my three values, and you can measure me against those anytime, all three of them. I will stick to what I say I'm going to do and finish it. I care about people and helping those that can't help themselves, and I want everyone to have the opportunities to be successful in life and to go after what they go after. To be a doctor if that's what they want to do. You know, to at least have the opportunity to do it. And I don't think that's true in this common day and age. So I think this opportunity is right because we have so many things going on. I mean, Bush steps on every other day, right? There's something new. I would be up here for an hour laying out all the mistakes he's made recently. So we have that to run against. With Abramoff, now here Tom DeLay's Deputy Chief of Staff gets indicted, and then how did Tom DeLay meet him? From Rohrabacher. He was Rohrabacher's aide, you know? Rohrabacher said, I got this buddy that knows Abramoff, and of course Tom DeLay, you know, building up the money machine for the Republican Party, took him right in, and then they got him cold, you know, I mean, that indictment's done. So there's that linkage. There's all of the bad stuff on Rohrabacher, and I think all of you probably already know that. I think I'm the right candidate at this particular time to take him on. And I'll just tell you a little bit about my background. I grew up in Northern California, a little town called Paradise, up in the mountains up there. And I lived there till I was 16. My father was a civil engineer for the state of California, and he got transferred to Southern California. So I moved down here halfway through my junior year in high school. I earned my way through college with a football scholarship where I learned a lot from that. Because to compete at the college level, you learn a lot about yourself and digging in and so forth. I got my undergraduate degrees in political science and economics. I went to graduate school at USC and got public administration. And I was able to talk to some of the top minds at the time. Unfortunately, some of them got indicted later because they were part of the Nixon administration. But I learned what not to do, right? So I learned a lot from that crowd, which, if you remember, all of Nixon's aides were from USC. And some of them still taught there while he was in the White House. The Vietnam War was going on, and I talked to the Marine Corps, and they let me finish my undergraduate first. If I commit to that, then they sent me to flight school. So that's how I got in the Marine Corps. I didn't pick the Marine Corps, but they were the only service, because I was on a football scholarship, that would let me do that. That turned out to be the best move I made, because they're smaller, and I learned a lot more. But so then, when I got back from overseas, I went in the corporate world and became Chief Operating Officer at Security Pacific National Bank at a time when they were the 5th largest bank in the country. As an entrepreneur, after that I was a founder and CEO of Pyramid Software. I distributed and published software worldwide. It was CRM based, if any of you are familiar. It doesn't matter, it's a customer support type of stuff. But where that does matter, I'll bring it in a minute. But anyway, I did that. In the Democratic Party, I've served all levels. I was on the executive board for the state party. I was regional vice chair for the LA County Party. I've been club presidents. And as soon as my youngest daughter graduated from college, which was 8 or 9 years ago, that's when I got full-time in the Democratic Party. So I have that experience too. But the accomplishment that makes me most proud is that as a single parent, all 3 of my children graduated from California State University campuses, and they're all successful in their own careers. My oldest daughter's a CPA, and my son is in the middle, and he's a software developer for Hewlett Packard. And my youngest daughter, who lives in Redondo Beach, she couldn't make it today. She's special. She's a chief operating officer at 28 for a company in Culver City that's a software development company. So that makes me proud. But although I've had these extraordinary experiences, I share a lot in common with everyone else. I was the first person in my family in any direction to even attend college, yet alone graduate from it. I've had to work hard to make ends meet with a single parent. I had to leave my job and go meet with the teacher when my kids weren't behaving as they should have. So I went through all that, and I was frightened to death about drugs and all the other things that can happen. So I've been through all that with people and going to PTA meetings and so forth. And I also have the same concern that they're just one illness away from bankruptcy. A lot of families that don't have access to health care and those things. I had problems. There were times when I left Security Pacific and started my own corporation where I was without health care for about 8 months. And I can tell you what that was like, sweating that out. One bad thing had happened, I would have been cooked. And I would never do that again. It was a mistake, but I lucked out and got through it. So these things are important.